So as I was walking up to the barn this morning, and I haven't been out here. I was out here yesterday and didn't notice this. But as I'm walking out, I see something odd. There's a bird's nest. Some little birdie, might be those ones over there, they decided to build a nest up by the light. So now I gotta figure out how I'm gonna get the door open without damaging that nest, because I don't know, I don't have all my ladders are inside. I can't look and see if there's actually eggs in there or not. So I'm gonna try to tuck this up, and boy, they'll make a nest out of anything. I don't even know where they got that from. But yeah, there's a nest up there. Hello again, friends. Welcome to another edition of Beavertown Outdoors. I'm John. I'm out here at the beautiful Beavertown compound. And as some of you may know, I've been out of town for a couple weeks and for a class for work. But I'm back now. And it's a beautiful day out here today. And about, I don't know, it's supposed to be 70 degrees today. I'm going to take advantage of that. Luckily, while I was gone was when some of the worst of the weather happened. It was cold, snowy, rainy, all those good things. But it's bright and sunny today. And but I found out something. When you go away for 2 weeks, work in the woodyard doesn't do itself. So, since we have a nice day out today, I'm going to take advantage of it and I'm going to do a little bit of work. So we got all those logs, rounds that we cut up the other day and before I left. And I got to get those sorted out and moved. But before I do that, I am going to move, or I'm going to stack some. I've got a big pile of logs here that I need to stack, and I'm going to show them to you here in a second. So here we got the Holzhausen that I had been stacking. You can see it stood up pretty good. I had some rough weather here while I was gone, so, and she held up really well. So we're going to continue to do this. This Holzhausen here is about 8 foot in diameter and 6 foot high. And now I'm going to stack another one. So I'm going to set up the camera. The next one's going to go right over here. And I'm going to show you guys how I lay that out. And we're going to do some stacking. Because we got all this here that I've been splitting up over the last, well, couple weeks now. So we're going to work on getting this stacked up. Okay, so what we're going to do is we got our spot picked out. And what I like to do, what my plan is to do, is kind of set this up like this. So we got the Holzhausen over here, and we need to keep space so that sun and wind can still get to it. So I'm not going to leave a huge space because, I mean, there's only so much space to stack wood. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this up so that I'm about 2, maybe 3 feet away from here, and then I need to pick a center point that's 4 foot in diameter, or I'm sorry, the radius be 4 foot from the center, and then that way as I go around, that'll give me a total of 8 feet. And what I try to get is where I'm still on the sand, because I know I'm not stacking this on pallets, at least not these first few. I want to try it without the pallets. This is all with sand. I mean, there are some weeds that pop up or whatnot, but this is sand, doesn't hold a lot of water. And I'm going to show you how I do it. I'm going to try to show you how I do this. I'm doing this so that we don't have a lot of the wood in contact with the ground. So, first thing I'm going to do is I've got this 100-foot tape. I'm sure many of you have one. And we're going to start by putting a stake, which comes with it. And then we put this through. And we're going to start right at the existing Holzhausen. And then, so, let's take much. And 3 feet probably is what I'm going to leave. So that starts right here. So, what I think I'm going to do is, so 3 feet plus another 4 foot should give me my center. go here. I got 7 foot right here. So I'm going to take the stake out, and I'm going to move it and put it here. And my hope is that that'll give me 4 foot diameter. I might have to go in a little bit. Of course, it's stubbed wood right where part of it's got to go. But I think we can overcome that. So now I put the stake there where I think I'm gonna have my center, and we're gonna put the tape back on here and see if we can get 4 foot in a direction from here. Get out of the way, you. So we have 4 foot. I come all the way around. Just gonna make it perfect. Okay. Good deal. Perfect. 4 foot. So I can get all the way around 4 foot in any direction from here. That's going to give me total. You all remember geometry. That's going to give me an 8 foot diameter if I've got a 4 foot radius. So now, what we're going to do is I'm going to set my starting point out here. So I'm just going to set the tape down here. So the reason we pick a center is so that I use this tape, so I'm going to lock it, and then I'm going to set my outer ring as I walk around at 4 foot. That way we get a nice circle, or at least as nice as you can get with using a piece of wood that's 16 inches long and straight. So, and what I'm doing is starting out with pieces that have the bark well attached, because the bark of the tree actually will act as a barrier between any water. So it being in contact with the ground shouldn't be too bad. I'm going to take now this piece and I'm going to set it straight out from here. I'm going to have the outer edge of it right at 4 foot. Okay, and I got the tape locked. So now, start down here. Start down there, and I'm going to grab another piece. Again, try and find ones that have the bark well attached. So now, we set the next one up against it. And then turn it so it's 4 foot at the center. Go down, grab another one, and then grab a second one just to speed things up a little bit. The other reason to set these first ones on bark down is so that when you put wood on top of it, so when we put more wood on top of it, the first row is going to tilt in. I'm sure a lot of you have seen maybe videos of people building these, and that's the important thing. Building it is that the wood tilts in. That's what gives it stability. And the other nice thing about doing this way is the ground doesn't have to be perfectly flat for me to get it stacked up nice. Like with the pallets, I don't know about you, but a lot of times I gotta try to flatten the ground out a little bit to get nice. So again, setting up the center, center of the outer edge, right about 4 foot. And this can be tricky, and I know you're probably saying to yourself, well, that's a lot of time and effort versus setting up and just throwing a pallet down. And you're right, initially it is. Initially it is. Excuse me, let that out. But once you get it set up and going, it really doesn't take, it actually speeds things up. You don't have to be quite as precise stacking it. There you go, roughly 4 foot. And again, this isn't going to be perfect. You're dealing with long straight pieces. Trying to put them in a circle, it's not going to be. The bottom row isn't going to be perfect. At least you get it the bottom row in a general circle, and then we'll adjust as we put pieces on top of it. Not that worried about the size per se. How big, how small, because we're going to adjust as we go. I mean, obviously, if you have a box wedge and you're making relatively perfect size pieces, this would go easy. No doubt about that. But I don't have that luxury. Anybody, any of our favorite builders out there want to send me a machine with a box wedge to try out, I'd welcome it. Believe me. But I can't like that big. I get it. Those machines are expensive. If they weren't expensive, I would own one. I have a lot of other expensive pieces of equipment. There's only so much money. Sometimes these pieces don't want to fit nice. You've got knobs, and with. Again, not perfect. Some of it, a lot of it too, is what is going to be stable. There's always that risk with wood strength as it dries, and there's always that risk that it'll tip over. The wood strength changes its shape, and where it was once solid becomes loose. But you just set a check on it. Keep an eye on it. Gives me an excuse to walk out here, even if I'm not going to do real work. Keeping an eye on it. So,
So as you can see, I've got my 8-foot diameter circle, a little ring here built. And now the next step is going to be to put this first row, first course, I guess you could call it, of wood going this way. All right, pointing towards the center. And again, we need pieces that the bark is well attached, because the corner of it, one corner of it's going to be touching the ground. So we need to at least make sure the end that's touching the ground has bark on it.
Now, what should be all set now with tape measure. So we're going to push out of here. Again, not going to be super perfect. Try to be somewhat, not so precise, just even. We want to be stable. That's the biggest thing. Put the tape measure off to the side. Hopefully I don't forget it. Now I'm going to start grabbing some pieces. Try to be somewhat even on size. In the first row, I really don't want a lot of knots. That makes it a little more difficult. But now, what I'm going to do, since the outer edge, there should be 4 foot, just going to kind of eyeball it. I'm going to start laying these pieces like this. Okay. So you see, I got a lot of bark on here, and just going to put them like that until they angle in. Now some of the pieces, these are a little short. These end up actually going in the center. That's part of the advantage of this. You don't need a cookie bin or an offset box. Those are going to end up in the middle of this. Once we get it built.
now I've got this first course all done around here. They're all tilted in. You can see they all point towards the center. Now, as we work along and start stacking these up, eventually, just because of the nature of how the shape and how they interact, the back end, focus here. So they're going to start out here, but eventually they'll work their way to flat. And when they do that, I'll show you how I deal with that.
We're going to, now the way I did that one, and I plan to do these going forward, is I've got the outer ring, and then I'm going to do an inner ring. So I'm actually going to stack it like this twice, on the inside and an outside. Then that shrinks down the center, where I'm just throwing the haphazard pieces, because I don't have a ton of those with this wood, so I'd rather have two rings that nicely stacked. Still going to let air and train through, but you know, we're going to use up as much of the space nicely as you can, because you throw it in there loosely, you're not quite getting the same amount in there as you would if you stacked. So to me, versus having just one ring, having the two rings seems to, so far, be really stable. So now we're back to searching for pieces that are decent size, decent shapes. Want to bark on them. I'm going to step in here. I'm going to move up inside. Again, it's okay to make adjustments. Make your adjustments now. That's going to save you time as we go forward in this process. Now what I've got is an inner ring, and then similar to what we did on the outer, we're going to stack a row in. But I'm going to wait. I want to get one ring around here, and then I'm going to start doing the center here. That's what allows. Well, now, there's a whole debate over bark spark needs to be down the whole time, up the whole time. I look at it as, at the bottom I'm worried about the bark being down, okay, because I'm trying to shield the wood from any moisture that does work up from the ground. But I'm not, once I get farther up, now I should be more worried about moisture coming down from the rain. So I kind of do a little bit of both. My thought is, my theory, I could be wrong many times, is that if I have the bark down, going as we go up where it's getting rained on, then that bark is actually on the backside going to hold the water up and into the grain of the wood, the main body of the wood, instead of letting it drain off. So that might be right, might be wrong. I'm not a scientist. It's a guy who makes firewood. So, as I think you can see me doing, I'm just laying now these on top. We do it in the back here. So, you want kind of snug. Not super tight, but pretty snug because we want it to be stable. Because it's going to loosen up. As it does. So the reason I am putting the one course on here before I start going in here is because there's kind of going to be some overlap there, and I want to kind of tie in together. The more it ties together and overlaps, the more stable this should be.
So there's how we got it started. You can see I've got the outer ring and inner ring, and then I started piling in bark side down, offcuts and miscellaneous short pieces and whatnot. And now that we got the basic shape, we can start stacking. This will go a little quicker now that it's pretty well set. And I know it looks like, oh, this isn't perfect. You're gonna adjust. We're gonna adjust as we go, and we'll eventually try to make it. It won't be perfect, but we'll end up with something kind of like that.
Now the hardest part of this is to not let these on the outside keep working their way in. You want to eventually towards the top, but that's something I struggle with, is getting them in and then it starts just becoming a cone instead of a nice round cylinder. But that's just things you know about yourself. And with that, you'll be fine. If you take these pieces, some longer ones, we can, again, a little bit of overlap is a good thing. Helps with the stability, I think.
Said, as we go, pieces will start flattening out. So every so often, every few courses, about 3, we start having to put a couple more pieces in sideways, and that just makes it so that we prop back up on that angle. That's going to keep us from having this just tip out at us. Well, this is where all that wood was. Just a few chips there. I brought the wheelbarrow out, makes things go a little quicker. And there we are. It didn't quite, as much as that was there, did not make one of those complete. So that should kind of tell everybody how much wood these actually hold. You know, there's a surprising amount of wood that's held in a relatively small space. So, yeah, time to restock that. All right. Well, guys, that's going to do it for today's edition of Beavertown Outdoors. And I hope you like what you saw. If you did, please like, please subscribe. Feel free to share, and we'll catch you on the next one. So until then, from everyone here at the beautiful Beavertown compound, take care of each other, stay safe, and I'm out.